Hey man, so first and foremost, I want to say R.I.P. Rest in heavenly peace to my nigga Juice Wrld. The man died at the age of 21 due to a seizure. And what caused the seizure, we don't quite know yet. But I do have a nice little hunch. In his comments, like I saw in his Instagram comments, usually I would see people commenting about his belly, right? He's like, oh, they were kind of like trolling and joking in a way about like him having a big belly, and they're like, oh, yo, stay off the lean, nigga, stay off the lean, like, you know, you don't want to abuse it too much. And that's probably what was leading to him, you know, getting a bit more obese or getting a bit more heavy, right? You've seen examples of Gucci Mane, right? He talked about, you know, we see how we used to have the old Gucci and the new Gucci. Like he became a new man, right? He got off the lean, got off the drugs, and started working out, and you know, you can see the results. He's slimmer, he got abs, stuff like that. So a lot of people may not have known in detail, but their hunch was that he was abusing lean, right? And that's probably what led to his seizure. There's no concrete evidence yet that indicates what led to the seizure, but think about it, bro. My guy is 21. I am 22. What 21-year-old should be having these types of issues? Unless you already had, you know, previous epilepsy issues from your past life. Like, why at the age of 21 do you have, you know, are you having seizure issues? And the only conclusion I can come up with is there was some type of substance abuse going on in his life, right?
Always had issues with drugs even before you started to get famous and rich.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was something that I was into early, low-key, due to music. Because, like, I was a music head, so, like, in 6th grade, 7th grade, I'm hearing songs about sipping lean. Those are, like, the real influential years, I feel like, especially for, like, a boy. Like, finding out who your role models are, what you like, basketball, football. That's, like, when you start kind of choosing the dreams you want to chase, damn near.
Right.
So, like, 6th, 7th grade, I was hooping, I was playing baseball. I was good at both at the time. But I was also, like, freestyling, and I was really into music. Like, I used to damn near worship the shit. Like, I was into music so much. So my family putting me on all this different music, Future, Gucci, all these niggas talking about drugs, bro.
You can't help but ignore how fun or how interesting, at least, they're making Xans and lean and all this shit sound.
Yeah, bro.
Behind closed doors, or, you know, when you get money, it just amplifies the person you already are, right? If you were already abusing weed, smoking, spending maybe $300 on it, but now your income increased, it's just gonna increase how much you start spending on weed, right? So maybe he might have had an issue before, or, you know, money gives you access to more things. So that money allowed him to delve into other types of pleasures, right? And what's funny, funny but sad in a sense, is that he did make an album called World on Drugs with Future, oddly enough. And when we think about it, the world really is on drugs. You and myself are on drugs. And what type of drugs am I referring to? I'm not necessarily talking about crystal methamphetamine. I'm not talking about heroin. I'm not necessarily talking about cocaine or DMX or ecstasy. But even the lesser toxic or evil drugs like weed, alcohol, pornography, right? We belittle a lot of these things, but on my channel, I've talked about this stuff, and people struggle with this shit, right? People who abuse weed start having memory loss. They can't concentrate without it. They can't eat without it. They can't sleep without it. They start experiencing insomnia or lack of appetite when they try and quit. And then people, especially men particularly, who struggle with watching too much porn, they start getting erectile dysfunction, right? They can't get hard when they're having sex. They can't stay hard when they're having sex, or they don't even want to have sex with their partner or girls in general, right? They'd rather just stay home, chill, not get rejected, just watch the porn. Every girl in the videos are gonna say yes to me. There's no possibility of getting rejected. I'm gonna, you know, experience my orgasm, right? But there's a reason why you feel ashamed, or you feel sad after you beat off, you know, post-nut clarity, right? That's what they call it. After you come to a video that you're watching, compared to having actual sex, you don't really feel ashamed, you don't really feel sad, right? And even if you're not someone who's doing that stuff, right? Maybe you don't have an issue. You're a goody two shoes, or you don't have an issue with weed, alcohol, porn, gambling, whatever. Even that simple idea of being addicted to your phone, right? That constant need for dopamine, right? The likes on Instagram or Twitter or wherever, the views you get, the need to constantly check your phone. There's a reason for me personally why I delete all my social media apps the night before. Like, I don't want to be constantly checking it and seeing what's going on throughout the day, right? The night before, delete that shit, and if I want to look at it, I'll reinstall it, and I'll probably look at it around 6 p.m. or closer to the evening, right? I don't want to have my day and my time be distracted by constantly checking stuff, right? And even when you think about it, if you are someone who's trying to study or concentrate, you know the hardest part about studying is actually starting to study, or actually starting the task. The hardest part of actually doing an assignment or doing any type of work is the initial part. But once you start getting into the workflow, the juices start flowing, you're almost on autopilot and you're just like, you're working. But if you're constantly stopping what you're doing to check Instagram, to check your phone, to check your emails. Let's talk about your emails, bro. Constantly doing what you're doing to check your emails. It takes a certain amount of concentration to get back into the zone, right? And let's say you do that 5-6 times within the hour. Not only are you draining your energy, draining your willpower, but you won't be as productive as you could have been if you were just straight up in the zone doing your shit. So the real reason that Mr. Juice Wrld died at such a young age, 21, is because of the fact that whatever he was using, whatever substance he was doing, he was abusing it rather than using it. I honestly say I wouldn't personally smoke weed or drink alcohol or watch porn, but everything in doses, in moderation, has its benefits. The quote I always hold true for my channel and for the things I talk about is, too much of any good thing is good for nothing. Whatever you're watching, whatever you're listening to, whatever you're eating is not nurturing you or making you better, you need to cut it off. Especially when you're abusing it. Ask yourself, are you smoking weed every day, or every other day, or multiple times in a day? Are you watching porn multiple times in a day, or every other day, or majority of the week? Are you drinking alcohol, a decent amount of time? It's important to use things rather than have these things use and abuse you. That's why I feel like it's really important that I make a conscious effort to use our own body to deal with the stresses of life rather than exterior substances. And what do I mean by that? Things such as yoga, meditation. These two things have been life-changing things that I've implemented into my own personal life, that refrains me from having to rely on weed to relax, weed to deal with my anxiety, weed to deal with the bullshit of life, right? We all go through our bullshit, and we need things and people that we can rely on to, coast and ultimately thrive. Not just survive, but thrive. So the real reason Juice Wrld died, most likely, from the lean comments I've been seeing in his videos and his Instagram comments, is because he was abusing a substance. And rather than using it in moderation or using it in small percentages, he was abusing it. There's a fine line. There's a really fine line between use and abuse. Using things to benefit you, or relying on things, being overly dependent on things, and even becoming addicted to things, right? Weed, people belittle weed. People belittle pornography. Like, oh, you can't get addicted to that shit. But if you personally are experiencing negatives, is bringing more negatives into your life at this point than positives, then you need to rearrange, rewire, and rethink your relationship with that substance. Gambling, alcohol, pornography, weed, and then even the more harder forms of drugs. And even how many apps are on your phone, right? On my phone, I barely have any apps. I don't need all this realize that every time you're on Instagram, you're making Instagram money. Every time you're on YouTube, which I feel is more educational, it's more like you learn stuff, you're also making YouTube money. But where are you making your money? Where are you making your money? Right? Instagram is making money off you the more you spend time on it. They capitalize on your attention. Your attention is currency for them. So if you feel you're struggling with any type of addiction, pornography, weed, alcohol, coffee even, because that is another thing, bro. Like I said, moderation. Moderation is the name of the game, not abuse. Why do you need coffee every day to thrive? Coffee every day to feel better. They have you hooked, right? They have you hooked. If you're struggling with any type of shit, check out my mini course, my mini email series. I'll get you right. I'll get you right with all the meditation you need to be doing, the foods you should be eating that make the withdrawal symptoms not as severe, and the type of mindset you need to have to get through your addiction. Like, why do you even want to quit? Well, check it out, link in the description and pinned comment. And I have an entire playlist dedicated to weed addiction, pornography addiction, alcohol addiction, and 1 or 2 videos about methamphetamine and coffee. So check that shit out. Alright, fam. God bless, much love, peace, and joy. Namaste. And always remember, if it doesn't feed you, do not water it. Alright, fam. Deuces.
I know you feel asleep through the day and awake when that moonlight hits. I know you still looking at your life and you didn't think it